This is the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. Now it all starts with King Minos, who was the ruler of Crete, and the king of Athens. Now the two kings had a feud, and every once in a while King Minos would get bored and he'd send his troops to Athens and he'd conquer parts of the city-state. But as you can imagine, the king of Athens did not like this arrangement too much. So he wanted to come up with another applicable solution. How can I stop King Minos from sending people to Athens and destroying part of my city-state? So what King Minos proposes is that 7 Athenian boys and girls be sent down to the island of Crete every 9 years. And he decided that he was going to feed them to his half-man, half-bull Minotaur, this devourer. Well, over time, the king of Athens continues on, and he keeps sending every 9 years these 7 Athenian boys and girls, until one day his son was Prince Theseus, and Theseus does not think that this is a good idea. And he goes to his dad and he proposes a solution. He says, "Dad, instead of us sending these boys and girls to just keep getting devoured by this Minotaur, why don't you send me? Why don't you send me and I will defeat this Minotaur, and for once we can end this feud." Well, reluctantly, as you could imagine, the king of Athens finally agrees, and what he tells his son is, he says, is that what I want you to do is, if you are successful, I want you to change the sail on the ship from black to white. And when I see that it's white, I will know that you've defeated this Minotaur. But if it is black, then I will have to mourn the loss of my only son. So the day arrives, and Theseus is now one of the 7 Athenian boys, and they also send the girls to the island of Crete. When they arrive at the island, Theseus is greeted by this Princess Ariadne. Now in her eyes, she's considered one of the most beautiful women on the face of the earth. And she immediately basically comes up with this plan that if, Theseus can somehow defeat this Minotaur, that maybe the rest of the world can, enjoy her beauty as well. So at night, she gives Theseus a note, and basically in this note it says that, if he is successful, that she will help him try to defeat this Minotaur. And if Theseus does do just that, that he promises that he is going to take Ariadne away, and that the rest of the world can admire her beauty and charm that she possesses. So when the morning comes, Theseus arrives to this labyrinth, which is another word for a maze, and Ariadne comes over and she gives him this sword and a ball of yarn. Now, as Theseus is starting to move through the labyrinth, he is unraveling this yarn so he can find his way out. And lo and behold, as he gets close to the center, he finds this Minotaur. And the two have a feud. Lo and behold, then, Theseus ends up killing the Minotaur. Traces his steps back out. He saves the day. A promise is a promise. He agrees to take Ariadne with him. So Theseus and the other Athenian boys and girls get back on the boat with Princess Ariadne, and they set sail going back to Athens. But because this is a long trip and they need supplies, they stop off at a remote island out in the Mediterranean Sea. And Theseus tells Ariadne, "Just wait here, we'll be back, we need to get some supplies." Well, Ariadne, of course, is thinking something totally opposite. No one can really admire her beauty while she's on a boat, so she decides to get off the ship. And when she gets off the ship, all these people start to gather around and they start to admire her beauty and talk about, how wonderful she is. And she gets a little exhausted from this. It's been a long journey, and she lays down and takes a nap. Well, as Prince Theseus ends up getting the supplies, and he walks by and sees Ariadne laying on the ground, she's taking a nap, and there's all these people around her admiring her beauty, he decides to let her be. So he's going to leave her stranded on this island. And Theseus and the others get back on the boat, and they finish their journey to Athens. Well, as they get close to Athens, one thing that Theseus forgot to do, he forgot to change the sail on the boat. So as he gets closer, the king of Athens sees that on this ship that's coming in, that the sail is still black. and he thinks that his son has been killed and devoured by this Minotaur. And the king just essentially can't take it. The loss of his son is too overbearing, and he ends up falling off of a cliff. So Prince Theseus ends up losing his dad, and Princess Ariadne is left on this remote island, and that is the story. A short, abridged version of the Theseus and the Minotaur.